going to be on Warner Brother executives constantly talking about how, especially after BVS, how their movies are too dark. Take, for example, David Ayer's Suicide Squad. The take was a much more serious take with much more serious consequences than the movie we got in cinemas. The critique that the execs had on the movie, which led to its restructuring and so much more, was that the movie was too dark, the characters were not being introduced quickly enough, which to me, whatever metrics they're using, is ass backwards. Then we're hearing that the Matt Reeves Batman is a bit too dark as well, too serious. Now, I want to say this without a shadow of a doubt, the studio and the executives need to keep their hands off of the creators' visions. Let the creators do what they want. Let them go to the nth degree. Collaboration is always beautiful, but let the creators do the collaborations. And then you have your screenings or whatever. At the end of the day, Warner Brothers constantly keeps on putting its foot in its mouth, constantly makes poor decisions. And I think that's all on Toby Emmerich. Toby Emmerich's the dude, and the executives in Warner Brothers who follow his sort of thinking, they are the people who are constantly screwing up the movies. They're always focused on the dumbest things ever, runtime. Who cares about that? They care about must have jokes in it. If a movie is rated R, and that's another thing, David Ayer's Suicide Squad should have been rated R. But if a movie is rated R, it's for adult audiences. Why is that a problem? Okay. Warner Bros. Has a history of making much more mature content for adult audiences. Why is this a problem? Why are you trying to go the other direction and try to cater to kiddies all the time? Oh, this movie's just too dark. It's too dark for the kiddies. What does that mean? Okay, a dark movie is a movie like a horror movie. You don't seem to have a problem with The Conjuring, New Line Cinema movies. You don't seem to have a problem with horror movies. They're too dark as well. So my point is that Warner Brothers is trying to be like Marvel, like Disney, like people around them. They have lost sight of who they are, the company. And executives constantly try to get involved in creatives decision making. You need to, Warner Brothers, you have a history of that going wrong. Anytime executives go and meddle in the affairs of creatives, where the executives should probably not have any input or say into the process, that is when Warner Brothers goes south. You need to let the directors have their vision. Leave Matt Reeves alone. Let him make the movie he wants to make. Why is this a problem? Leave the directors alone. Let them make the movie they want to make. You hired them to make the movie. Let them make the movie they want to make. Stop with all the fucking footnotes and all the extra stuff. It's not necessary. So when I hear things like the movie's a bit too dark, no. That's the movie Matt Reeves is trying to make. It's a movie where Batman is going to have mental problems. He's going to have psychological difficulties. He's going to have dilemmas. All right? That's what makes Batman Batman. Yes, the 66 Batman was a law-abiding Batman, did everything by the book with Robin, but he was still kooky as hell. He still had mental problems as well, even though he's more of a detective than anything else, right? in a kooky kind of thing. That Batman, the '66 Batman, went against everything that Batman was. The black and white versions of Batman were all menacing, were all this weird cape crusader who was on a mission. Okay, and that's why he was in a bat cave. Why is he in a bat cave? Because he can't move in public. He can't be in public eye. Okay, the '66 Batman went against everything it had to do with that. He's still kooky as hell, and the movie and the people in the movie were kooky. But the point is that you got to understand, Batman lost his parents at a very early age. He witnessed the death of his parents. Now, if we're being real, all we got to look at is children who have had traumatic experience of seeing their parents murdered in front of them. Go to any urban black American community, and a lot of children know about that. Okay? You go to any country where there's been genocide, mass genocide, whether it's Africa or India or Pakistan, and the people know about that. So you got to understand, you're going to have mental problems as a result of a traumatic experience like that. Right? So, I mean, this is not rocket science. He's going to have mental issues. If Matt Reeves wants to explore that, why can't he? Why can't he explore that? That's the fun of Batman, knowing his psyche. The most fascinating part of Batman is his psyche. He's so mysterious. He's always on the scene. He appears, he disappears. We try to get more into Bruce Wayne. We can't really get deep into Bruce Wayne. Zack Snyder, he was able to show certain sides of Bruce Wayne. Christopher Nolan did a pretty good job of that. Everybody else was superficial. I mean, Michael Keaton, he played the mysterious role. Complex man, lots of thoughts in his head, but they never really showed the psyche of him. It was in, I think, Batman Forever. Schumacher was first addressing that. He was about to attempt the psyche of Batman. And what did Warner Bros. Do? They screwed him over, right? What did they do? Oh, this movie's too dark. We need to restructure it. They do it over and over. The executives of Warner Bros. Keep on putting the foot in their mouth over and over and over again. Okay? And the reason they do it is because they're not visionaries. They don't understand why the directors always want to delve and go deeper into the psyche of Batman. They want to go to a serious movie. They want to make a serious movie. Christopher Nolan came straight out the racetrack. Said, I want to make a serious movie about Batman. But of all the serious movies about Batman, Nolan touches on the depths of Batman the least. Schumacher was going into the psyche of Batman. Zack Snyder went into the psyche of Batman. Literally into his psyche. That's why he had these dreams and all these things that scared the crap out of him. Nolan didn't go that far. Okay? And you got to understand, it's great to examine a comic book character and bring them to life in the real world. And, Warner Bros. Constantly puts their foot in their mouth because they do not know what their potential fan base, what their potential, the people who follow DC want. DC does a deeper dive into the characters that, in a very creative way, a unique way, not a formulaic way, into their characters. Why is it that Warner Brothers constantly wants to follow after Marvel? I don't know. And we'll address that in my next video. But when I was listening to Chris Wong and I was seeing stuff on Twitter, where again Warner Brothers and their executives are trying to meddle in Matt Reeves' The Batman, which will be an excellent movie if Matt Reeves can let his vision come to the screen, then obviously, just look at Matt Reeves' work. Matt Reeves is not a comedian. He's not making jokes in his movies. You look at the Planet of the Apes series. They're successful and quality stuff, and that's what Matt Reeves does. So if you don't appreciate what Matt Reeves does, why did you hire him to do the Batman? Why did you listen to Jeff Johns? This guy, Matt Reeves, excellent director. But if I see a funny kind of Batman movie that's kind of all over the place, I know that the executives interfered once again and screwed up another movie. Keep your damn hands off the director's movies. Let them do what they want. Let them put their heart and soul into the stuff. So, and Toby Emmerich and people like him really make it difficult for creatives to really do what they want to do. And then you get something new and innovative and fresh. For all the flack Man of Steel's gotten now, so many years after, there are one or two detractors out there, but the majority of people, shout out to Pickashades, what's up, man? Just got home from work, great. The majority of people out here appreciate that movie even more after the fact. It is the best Superman movie of all time. It is. Period. I see the CW. I was looking on Twitter. I never watched it, but Superman and Lewis copying pieces of that and copying pieces of Zack Snyder's Wonder Woman entrance. Okay, and I find the Superman in Superman and Lewis, at least the clip I saw, I thought that the Superman in that clip was reckless. Superman in Batman v Superman is not as reckless as that. Now Wonder Woman, on the other hand, she will kick the ass. She will kick ass and bust heads, all kinds of stuff. Guys, their heads getting busted open, you know, against walls, against cracked scalps or whatever. Not necessarily dead. Just because you see a little blood doesn't mean that they're dead. But it definitely, the impact that they got against the wall, you know, when she throw a guy against the wall, I mean, it's tremendous force. So they may die of complications later on, you know. But what I'm saying is, you know, barring the splotches of blood and stuff, yes, very brutal, very, very strong, shows that, you know, Wonder Woman's a god. She ain't no human. But at the same time, I mean, come on now. You're copying Zack Snyder's stuff. Then you want to play, what's it called? You want to play, not Richard Donner, the guy who did the score for Richard Donner's Superman. You want to go back and hearken to that old theme, you know, and you're trying to bridge the two. You can't do that, you know. I gotta give credit where credit is due. I don't think Superman and Lewis has any jokes in it. It's not a really jokey movie, television series. But nonetheless, everybody's raving about this Tyler Hoechlin Superman when Clark Kent's a goddamn better Superman than that. Like superior. Like the Henry Cavill's version of Superman is so subtle, so nuanced, and so goddamn perfect. You know, dwarfs the iteration of the 1979 Superman, Christopher Reeve's version. Just dwarfs it by miles. Okay? And still, because Man of Steel got some flack and they said it was a dark, emo Superman, which it's not. Superman's not emo. And Superman wasn't dark. I say it again. It was a serious take. You want to call it a darker take on Superman, whatever. But it was a serious take on Superman, which I really appreciated. I don't like Superman shows or movies where they make jokes out of very serious things. Okay, Lewis and Clark was the closest I got to being bemused by Superman, and it was slightly comical. It was more of a comedy. Two very attractive people, by the way, that played that. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm not into Superman for comedy. Even if you look at Superman in the animated series, he's not comical. He doesn't make jokes. He's not in jokey situations. In fact, he's kicking ass and throwing people through buildings and shit. Okay? So, when those guys throw down on the animated series, they throw down. Do people die in that thing? Well, we don't know. Because it's animation, people don't think of it in a realistic sort of way. So when Man of Steel came down and Jay Oliver, right, who is the man who does the choreography for the animated series, Justice League animated series, Justice League War, and all of that stuff, which people love. He's the one that did the choreography for Superman. He's the one that did the choreography for Superman cracking and breaking Zod's neck. Jay Oliver. He's the guy that choreographed Superman going into space with Zod. Zod taking Superman into space and punching him into space. Okay? Smashing him through buildings and stuff. Zach wanted to do where Superman would crash through a subway, and Jay was like, we did that already in the animated series. We're going to do something a little different. Okay? If you find that Superman moved and he, was fighting and everything like Superman in the animated series, because of Jay Oliver. Zach and Jay put that together. Okay? All I'm saying is the Superman animated series, is the Superman, yeah, it got the dun-da-dun music in it. But other than that, it's pretty dark, if you want to call it dark, but it's not dark. It's not dark. Superman's always inspirational. It's never been an emo Superman. Otherwise, that animated Superman is also an emo Superman. The music may sound inspiring, but it's an emo Superman. Hold on a second there, people. Pick a shade. Speaking of superhero psychology, my next review series is going to be on Injustice, how I see Superman's de-evolution. Hold on a second. De-evolution into tyranny as the absence of Clark Kent. Right. So that's Superman, the god, with a sort of detachment to humanity and just he's kind of shepherding or fathering, in a very draconian way. Yeah. Leroy Khan. Hello. Happy weekend. Great live. Very well said. Zack Snyder got Superman right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Leroy Khan says, Man of Steel is very well made. Screw haters. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we all know this now, and people have come to that consensus more or less. Saul Martin says, I adore the OG Donner Superman movies. They're so wholesome and hopeful, but Man of Steel is another level, goosebumps inducing and epic. The score is godly also. I agree, Saul. The thing about it is, Superman is an inspiration of hope, and Donner's Superman, especially the 1979 version, was very hopeful, for some people, very enjoyable. Not very realistic, though. Not very realistic. Okay, and we know why, right? He sped around the world and turned back time, right? Now we saw that with the Flash in the Snyder Cut, but the way how the Flash did it is because he was using the Speed Force. Unless Superman's using the Speed Force, I guess it could work. I guess because if Snyder did it in there and we saw the physics of it, I guess Superman could do it too. But the unrealistic part about it was there were several very unrealistic things in Superman 1979. But be that as it may, the world in 1979 was different, right, to the world today. So where we may be saying, oh, it was unrealistic in 1979 for that to happen, people wouldn't react like that. People were more naive in 1979. So maybe it actually suits that time. But a Superman for today, a Superman that brings relevance, that you have to ask questions. If someone was to try and help the world today, had the abilities and strength and power to help in large ways, influence wars and stuff like that, would that be something that we would just, embrace? We would be asking, well, what's your motive behind what you're doing? You're not attached to any government or have allegiance to anyone. You just kind of just have a general allegiance to humankind. What happens if you don't? What happens if you say you're our friend, but behind the scenes, you're our enemy? and just so many questions we would have. In fact, just the fact that we suspect that they're aliens, right? Today, in this day and age. And, there have been, more information seems to point to something like that. Is to some people very disturbing. And to other people, it fills them with awe and fear. All right? Leroy Collins says 62 times I've seen Zack Snyder's Justice League now. I'm not crazy. I am enjoying my 2 weeks vacation, all at home watching Zack Snyder's Justice League and Dawn of the Dead. Thank you, Zack Snyder. Dawn of the Dead. You didn't see Army of the Dead yet? You should check out Army of the Dead. That's dope. But you gotta have Netflix for that. It's really dope. But my point anyway is, Warner Brothers always wanting to have a lighter film. Executives talking about this needs to be a lighter film because DC's attached to the character is rather stupid. Okay, even though some lighter films, well, sort of lighter films, are pretty awesome. Like if you guys haven't seen it, Sweet Tooth. Sweet Tooth is awesome. Now, do people die in that movie? Absolutely. And not graphically, they don't show the death, but it's horrible deaths that these people die. And all to preserve the life of a hybrid, right? But there are stakes in that movie, and it's dramatic. Is it funny? No. It's not a funny movie, but there are funny moments in it. And Sweet Tooth was a Warner Brothers production. Warner Brothers TV, actually. But it ended up on Netflix. Okay? An episodic series. Great stuff. Fantastic stuff. You guys really need to see it. It's not like the CW. It's not like Superman and Lewis. It's literally a movie of its own kind. A movie with its own unique originality and style. And it's beautiful. A post-apocalyptic story. It's based on a comic, Sweet Tooth. Now, the thing about it is that you can make movies which appeal to children because they're earnest. You see, it's the earnestness that Patty Jenkins and Zack Snyder speak about in their movies that make them pure. Regardless of how violent and how menacing the criminal elements may be in a movie, or even sometimes how narcissistic some of the heroes may be in the movie. Once one person stays pure and earnest through the movie, it ties the thing together. That's what makes heroics. That's what makes a movie heroic. People always think heroes don't make mistakes. That's not realistic. In our world, heroes do make mistakes. But we hold them up to such high standards as we do superheroes that at times we can be very savage and we can have the baser part of ourselves because we decide to critique them. Hence, a lot of people are still talking about Batman in Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman and how, he kills and Batman does not kill, which is, again, not true at all. Batman has killed. He killed, and he's probably going to kill in the future, okay? And it's not that he wants to kill. Batman's not a guy who's about killing, all right? He's not, take no prisoners. I'm the Punisher. I'm going to kill everybody out. That's not Batman. But it is ludicrous to think and to say Batman does not kill. Just as ludicrous to say Superman does not kill. Of course, Batman kills. Of course, Superman kills. He doesn't want to kill. Well, at least when he's when he's a little saner than he usually is. So what I mean by that is, Batman has sought to kill before. Okay, we've seen it in Death in the Family where he wanted to kill the Joker and he was hunting him down. If Superman didn't apprehend the Joker, Batman would have killed him. In BVS, Batman sought to kill Superman. He was out for blood, okay, to stop him, right? And his rationalization is Superman's not a human being, so I can kill him. right? Just like how Superman killed Doomsday. Doomsday's not a human being. So he rationalized in his mind, but it was murder. He was going to murder a person. I say a person. He's not human, but he's a person. And so this is where you have to understand it's not that Batman does not kill or he has a rule that he does not kill. Maybe he has a rule that he doesn't kill, but he breaks that rule, not intentionally. Okay, even in canon, he's killed people, but not intentionally, generally speaking. Even though he did intentionally kill Ra's al Ghul because that was the only way, and he's saying Ra's al Ghul will come back. And in the animated series of Batman, Batman had thought he had killed, for example, Killer Croc. He thought he killed him. All right, but Killer Croc came back. All right. And that's the key. You have to understand, even in the animated series, even though you can't really point to Batman killing someone, his intent, after he had, Killer Croc fell so far to his death, what Batman thought was to his death. But then Killer Croc came back. Batman thought that was the end of Killer Croc. And you notice there was no remorse. After he thought Killer Croc was dead, he just walked away. He wasn't mourning. He wasn't grieving. He's not like Superman. If Superman, for example, kills his fellow Kryptonian, General Zod, Superman, of all the characters out there, I think Superman is the character who resents killing the most. Okay? Does Superman kill? Absolutely. Okay? He has to. Okay? He killed Doomsday. Has he killed humans? I don't recall Superman killing humans, but other than that, Superman kills whatever. If he has to take something out, he's about it. He'll take it out. All right. We've even seen him kill in the animated series, right? We've seen him kill in animated Justice League, destroy Brainiac, absolutely utterly destroy him. We've seen him, destroy other villains, which were maybe robots or whatever, but he has destroyed. Okay. So does Superman kill? Absolutely. But even though he kills, sometimes the characters that he kills can come back, like Brainiac, for example. Does that make the character dark? No. If you're going to go live action and you're going to do what we call realism or hyper-realism, then this is just a consequence of it. You cannot escape killing people in the process of trying to do good. And that's what happened in Metropolis. It's not that Superman was responsible for the deaths of those people. More than likely was Zod. Whether it is that Zod threw Superman through a building, for example, and Superman maybe knocked a person off a building and they fell to their death or whatever, right? Because you remember he plowed them through buildings. And sometimes Superman actually, people scurrying for cover, and some people even get hit by Superman. Those people who actually end up it's not Superman that plowed himself through the buildings. It was Zod that threw him through the buildings. Yes, Superman hit the people. He couldn't control himself. But you can't blame Superman for their deaths. You can't blame Superman for the world engine terraforming Metropolis all the way through to the Indian Ocean and killing all those people. You can't blame Superman for that. He was trying to stop that, right? You can't blame Superman for the collateral damage that happened when he's getting knocked out of a building and plowing through cars and plowing through buildings. You can't blame Superman for that. All right. And then for people who say, well, Superman needed to go to a more deserted area and leave Zod alone, Zod's heading to the Metropolis. He's heading to kill humans. Zod's mission was to kill humans. He didn't give up. Damn. So, you can't blame Superman for trying to stop Zod. And Zod said it. Everybody's all on. I don't understand it. How can you blame Superman for killing Zod? Why is that a problem? Zod is on a mission to wipe out the human race and take down Superman. He is mad. He is vindictive. And he will not stop until he's killed. And you guys are talking about, oh, that was just a horrible way to go. It's Superman. And I'm like, you know what? I wish you lived in that world. And you saw that on the news. You know what I mean? Because your ass would have been on the line if Zod was left to live. You would have been the one that died. Especially if he killed Superman because he was getting stronger and he was getting more control of himself. And he was kicking Superman's ass for a minute there. Serious kicking ass. Okay? So Superman got the upper hand, and Zod would not let it go. He saw some humans and he was trying to kill them. Okay? And they even lingered on the moment to emphasize Zod didn't change his mind and Superman needed to do something real quick. Otherwise, more collateral damage. Just imagine Superman lets Zod live and they keep on fighting and cause more collateral damage, more deaths. I mean, use your brain. Zod doesn't care about humans. He's fighting. He does not care if he kills humans or not. He doesn't care about collateral. Superman needs to stop him. He needs to contain him. So that toe-to-toe battle meant everything, you know. And I mean, even a more experienced Superman, what he might do, I don't know. But that's not a win-win situation. That's a situation where there's going to be collateral damage. And unfortunately for Bruce Wayne, you know, his people in his tower and stuff, they suffered severely for it. And I can understand the resentment and hate towards Superman for this collateral damage that happened. Okay, I get it. It's a human reaction. We see it today. We see people Superman has done nothing to at all mad at Superman for doing what he did in Metropolis. Right? To this day, there are people who, that's not Superman. Superman doesn't do that. Superman, that's a dark Superman. That's an emo Superman. No, that's a realistic take on Superman. That's a sobering take on if something like that actually happened. That's all it is. And why is it that people who react the way they do? Because they want it to be a fairy tale. They want it to be a story that makes them feel good. Not even a fairy tale. They want a feel-good story. Because that's what Marvel does. Marvel doesn't provoke you to think about the reality of a situation. They don't do that. They don't go deeper dives into their characters like that. They don't do it. So the people who were speaking out and, oh, this is the worst, Batman v Superman, worst comic book movie ever. Why? Because it was a serious take and Superman died at the end of that movie. And people did not like that. They didn't like that Superman died. They didn't like that Superman was suffering. They didn't like that their hero was crucified. They didn't like it. Because Zack came in their face and said, this is what would happen if a real true superhero who was earnest and genuine wanted to help mankind. This is what would happen. That's what he did. And they did not like it. Oh, it's such a dark movie. Because even heroes would turn against heroes. And we've seen it in life. We've seen it over and over in life. We see it in our politics. We see it in the Snyder Cut movement, where sometimes different factions of the Snyder Cut movement don't agree with each other because they feel that one person has done harm to them. We see it all the time. So why is this suddenly an unrealistic take and a darker take? Oh, it's a darker kind of heroes. Come on, man. Grow up. That's life. That's why. And people say, oh, so you're the more. I was talking to a guy on Twitter and he was like, Batman doesn't kill. So I said, but that don't make no sense, bro. I said to him, that don't make no sense. He killed already. He killed in the comics. He's killed in every single action movie, live action movie. He's even killed in television series. So you can't say he doesn't kill because he killed. Right? To the point where I use the Zack Snyder term, grow the fuck up. I had to tell a guy that. Grow the fuck up. He's killed. He killed in this movie. And he probably will kill again. What you guys don't understand is it's not that we want him to kill. I'm not interested in Batman killing. But the reality of the situation is, in the real world, in a live action setting, which is not comic book movies, is not comic books. And mind you, if you think about it, Batman in, I think it was Arkham Knight, whatever it was, he killed in that movie. Remember that? He killed in that movie. That was an animated movie. I think Jay Oliver did that one too. Arkham Knight, something Arkham Knight. I can't remember what it was. Okay, with the Suicide Squad in it. And the point behind it is, yes, he kills. Does he want to kill? No. Okay, he doesn't want to kill people. But if he ends up killing a very bad criminal, he's not going to lose sleep over it in the night. He's not going to be haunted by it. Oh my God, I killed a criminal. No, he's not going to be haunted by it. He's like, well, you were the byproduct of your actions. And you never see Batman kill someone who didn't do him something or isn't trying to take his life, right? And you know, BVS Batman is one of the most interesting Batman of all time for me. BVS particularly, not necessarily the Snyder Cut, because the Snyder Cut was a resolved issue with the Batman, whereas in BVS it was unresolved, right? It was an unresolved issue with the character. The character had become more brutal. He had become more severe. He had become more callous, to the point where there was a controversy between the average citizen worried about being out in the night because Batman was prowling. Okay, so even normal citizens began to become afraid of the Batman. He had changed, and of course, some citizens actually defended him, and that's why I love the Ultimate Cut. The Ultimate Cut really goes into, again, the dichotomy, the controversy behind these characters. Superman, the lady with the little boy, she got it right? She believed that Superman was all about good, and that the people who were saying, you know, hang him and stuff like that, they were not right. She also got Batman correct. She said, he's not going to be mean to people who don't deserve to be treated like that, which is true. Okay? Everybody's sympathizing with the guy that got branded. But this guy's a trafficker of women. Okay? He's a trafficker of women. He's got women up in a cage, for crying out loud. Okay? Yeah, he gets branded. Yeah, he ends up in prison. Yeah, he dies in prison. And Batman don't give a damn that Lex Luthor's man is the people behind it. He doesn't care. Okay? But the point is, this is a terrible person. Okay? This is a terrible, terrible person. So Batman torturing him and even branding him, it's very extreme. It's not Batman to brand people, obviously. And you hear Alfred say new rules. But the point is, this is not like a guy that we're like, oh yeah, you know what? He should have human rights. He should be treated well. He needs to go to a home or asylum or something and get treatment for that. No, he's a twisted mother. He's a twisted son of a bitch. Oh, he has a wife and a family. So what? He's still a twisted son of a bitch. Okay? It doesn't change anything. Okay? And my point being, not that, the point being that the lady says he ain't gonna be hard on people who don't deserve to be hard. That's what she was saying, which she's right. Okay? Right? At least he didn't kill the dude, but he did torture him. My point anyway is this. Yeah, Batman was absolutely, he was teeter-tottering on being evil in Batman v Superman. We see that. But we also saw how vengeful he was, right? And how one-track minded he was. Does that make Batman v Superman a dark movie? Somewhat dark. Yeah, I could see it. Because there were horror elements in it, and we got into Batman's psyche, and we saw how tortured he was as a human being. But by and large, it's not dark. A dark movie is like Brightburn, ladies and gentlemen. Horrific. Having you constantly afraid. Okay? That's a dark movie. A serious movie with repercussions to it. Okay, take for instance. In fact, I would say Batman v Superman is more of a drama action movie. I do not think of it as a horror movie. There are horrific elements in it. There are horror elements in it, but it's not a horrific movie. It's not a dark movie. The bullshit that they say, if it was a Marvel film, not Marvel TV series now. If it was a Marvel film, it'd be a pretty dark take for a Marvel film. It's not a Marvel film. It's a DC film. Okay? Are you saying that Batman Begins was a dark movie? Are you saying that The Dark Knight was a dark movie? Are you saying that The Dark Knight Rises was a dark movie? If you're not saying that those movies are dark movies, then how the hell can you call BVS a dark movie? Because it has Batman in it, and Batman's a little bit on the ticker end of teeter-tottering to the dark side. He still didn't go to the dark side. Lex Luthor was a diabolical guy in that movie as well. But again, bad guys always are diabolical. So what's new, right? Nobody thinks of movies like Lethal Weapon. Nobody thinks of movies like Predator or Terminator as dark movies. They think of them as action movies. You know what do you think of as dark movies? Chucky, Child's Play, 1, 2, 3, Freddy Krueger. Those are dark movies. Okay? Dark movies leave you with nightmares after you've watched the movie. That's a dark movie. And I'm tired of hearing people say, oh, that movie is a dark movie. What are you talking about? So what, Blade's a dark movie? Blade's not a dark movie. Daredevil TV network series, it's not a dark movie. Oh, it's dark because the lighting is dark. I'm like, oh my God, that's not what the dark movie is. You understand what I'm saying? So they don't know what dark movies are. And that's the thing that really gets to me. And so when I hear Warner Brothers say, oh, that's too dark, I'm like, Ninja, please. Ninja, please. Okay? Ain't nobody else doing adult content or mature content out there except for Warner Brothers right now. Fox was doing a little something with Logan. I guess they would say Logan was a dark movie. I never heard them say Logan was a dark movie. Have you ever heard them say Logan is a dark movie? No, because it's not. Let me see what you guys are saying in the comment section. Let me get up to speed here. Leroy Kong says, Army of the Dead, not Dawn of the Dead, sorry. I've seen Army of the Dead 13 times now. Great movie. Zack Snyder is my number one director. I hear you, man. He's not my number one director. I don't really have a number one director, but he's one of them. He's man, this mother. Did you guys see the Gutter, what is it? You know that he's going to be executive producing Twilight of the Gods, which is the Götterdämmerung, right? And the Götterdämmerung, for those of you who didn't realize, was the name given to the vault, the lock of the vault. And the Götterdämmerung is also Richard Wagner's final closing epilogue to his opera, which is speaking about Death of the Gods, or the Twilight of the Gods. So, I mean, you know, Army of the Dead's actually meshing in with the Götterdämmerung, which is, of course, the German for the Norse mythology. It's a corruption of the Norse mythology, Ragnarok, which is the end of all things, right? And so the movie Twilight of the Gods is supposed to talk, I guess, about the sort of ending of Odin and sort of the end of those old gods. So we see the Greek gods, which was Zeus and they, and there's an end to them. And I guess this is about the end to that and how it translated on Earth. I would really love to see what they come up with, because that may also sort of overlap and overarch into Army of the Dead and all the other series that have to do with it. So I'm very curious as to see, because, you know, Zach and Jay Oliver and, you know, all the different people, you know, they you know, They have this prequel that's coming out, and Zach's gonna be directing two pieces of the prequel, two episodes. So that would be really cool. Jay is also directing some other episodes as well. I think he's doing four or something like that. So I mean, Zach's crazy. So we're gonna see how far that goes. The recall says Batman kills bad guys. Yes, he sometimes kills, and he doesn't intend on killing. It just ends up being that way, whether it's in a crossfire or whatever. Sometimes he's intentional, like it with when you look at Michael Keaton's Batman, where he intentionally killed the clown by blowing him up. Sort of comic element. Different times, 89. Picture says Batman can kill as long as he doesn't do it consciously. I draw the line at premeditated murder. Absolutely. He's never premeditated. I mean, he has premeditatedly killed, he tried to kill at least, Darkseid. So he tried to kill the Darkseid, and sort of partially succeeded. Picture says also, Batman with guns is not the Punisher. Batman with guns is what inspired Batman to be created in the first place. And by Batman with guns, I mean the Shadow. That's correct. The Shadow. That's correct. Batman is actually the Shadow, actually. A ripoff of the Shadow. That's correct. Batman with guns is the Shadow. That's correct. Lyra Kong says he stopped the world engine. Absolutely. Absolutely. Superman stopped the world engine, and in a very hopeful, very dramatic way, because the world engine was about to smash Perry White, and I forgot what the young lady's name was, and Perry was like holding out hope, and Superman, had been knocked down by the world engine, and of course this is more of a physicality thing, but he summoned all his strength, all his might, and he's taking the brunt of the world engine. This is something that squashes human beings, but it's not squashing Superman, right? And he takes the brunt of that, and he charges up through it. And yes, it's a physical manifestation of the impossible, and the will, and all your might, and all like throwing. The Bible says, putting all your heart and your might and your soul into something, and it's like he put all his might and heart and soul into it, and he charged up and he destroyed the world engine. Beautiful stuff. It's like a poetic. It's very metaphorical. Some people say they saw Christopher Reeve's face in the middle of that transition, which was not intentional, but still so very premonitive, like a premonition, or a callback to Christopher Reeve. I thought it was beautiful. And then he just charged up in there, and of course he was going throughout the movie, which was pretty hilarious. But nonetheless, all his might, all his force, all his power, all that face acting, all that expression, just a lot of expression as he's being succumbed. He was almost succumbing to the force of the world engine that hurled him down into the bottom of the sea. He's in the bottom of the Indian Ocean, by the way, when this is happening. When he hurls up from the base of the Indian Ocean, out of the water, up into the world engine, boom, split the world engine in half. God damn it, man, Zack Snyder with the visuals. Saul Martin says, well said, B, bro. Ali Khan says, Superman and Batman are heroes. They're protecting innocent lives. Right. So that's why, and what I loved about Zack Snyder was he really addressed the question of what makes a hero. A hero. And, part of Superman's hero's journey, like we like to talk about, the call to adventure, and the people who help you along the way, the spiritual help along the way, the transformation because of the death and resurrection into a transcendency. You become something better than you were before. All of that, we've seen it with the Snyder Cut. We've seen with Zack Snyder, and how he's becoming this, well-known, well-received director. And we're also seeing death and rebirth, right? With Superman and with so much other things. But my main point is not only that. My point is that the hero, what makes a hero, and what is the hero's journey, is very important. And whether you believe it's mythos or not, this is what makes us love or superheroes or heroes in general. And you think of Harriet Tubman, for example. I was watching an article, and remarkable lady, because the consequences of her actions was if she got caught, they were going to torture her, they were going to rape her, they were going to rip her to shreds, and then they would make an example of her, and then they'd probably burn her, right? And this woman, under all those, that perilous time, she orchestrated and organized to get so many thousands of slaves out of the South into the North and to their freedom. To me, that's a superhero. A superhero doesn't have to be somebody who's punching bad guys. It doesn't have to show force and power. And what Zach was able to capture in Superman, particularly, was we saw the moments when Superman succumbed to mankind. When he submitted himself to mankind to be delivered to General Zod, when he submitted himself to mankind to go up into Congress, to be questioned by mankind. All right? That's what makes a hero, a guy who is willing to have himself be held accountable for the betterment of humanity so they could find a better way. And to me, that's what makes a hero a hero. And a hero doesn't know they're a hero. Most of the time, heroes don't think of themselves as heroes. Right? But the fact that other people will covet and actually admire them, Zack Snyder's a hero. Right? He's controversial, just like his films, but he's a hero. Because people look at the values, the attributes that he exhibits, that he embodies, and they want that. Right? So that's the thing. It's not worshiping Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder doesn't want anybody to worship him. Quite frankly, I can see that. He's not interested in that. He's interested in imparting the virtues and qualities. There's another thing I want to talk about. Let's see what you guys are saying, though. Leroy says, again, great live. Take care and keep safe. You too, Leroy. Another thing I want to talk about, because there's a lot I want to talk about as a human being. And the other thing I want to talk about is this. It popped out of my head. It was in and it was out. It was an important thing. A lot of times, yes, I remember what it is now. Zack Snyder comes from, he's a Christian Scientist. Well, he was. He was raised as a Christian Scientist. His father's very proud of him, right? And we know that. His father spoke about it. And one of the things that he, a lot of people don't understand what Christian Scientists are, obviously. But to just boil it down to its essence, they're spiritual people. They see a lot of spiritual things. They observe spiritual elements. And we talk about transcendency. Now, I remember my girlfriend, ex-girlfriend that is, she used to talk about that, transcendency. Now, a lot of people don't understand what that means, but it's kind of like the hero's journey in the sense that by going low, and like Joseph Campbell even said it, going into the pit of despair, you come back out better, right? I would like to say, while you are in that pit of despair, that is where the greatest glory is. That's where you transcend what you used to be to become something greater. Let me give you an example. From the Bible, when Jesus was dying on the cross, that was the greatest glory. He actually glorified God by dying on the cross. So in his most miserable, in his worst situation you could possibly have as a human being, at what some people would consider the lowest point, is actually the highest point of your ascendancy in terms of how far reaching you are to the world. You become a spectacle, and because you become a spectacle, you reach more people. And you are now clearly on show because of that. And that's what I mean by transcendency. Transcendency meaning it's not a comfortable thing necessarily. It can be, right? But to glorify God, what God really was, we saw in how humble Christ was on the cross, okay, using that mythos. Let's call it a mythos for the moment. So Christ, in being crucified, we're talking about the most powerful being in the universe being crucified. He showed how humble he is and how far he was willing to go to save humanity. See, and that's the glory in the whole thing right there. So using that and what Joseph Campbell generally says, and what Zack Snyder generally says. And I do believe Zack's a spiritual person. He doesn't talk it, but his actions, his behavior is very spiritual to me. Okay, and I think he knows that because I see how he always metaphysically, he's always trying to visualize spiritual concepts and spiritual things. And he likes to say kind of hocus pocus thing. But I know he plays it now. But I can see that he's literally speaking something that's actually I don't want to go there, but let's just say he's looked into the matter, and people have looked into the matter to see how it could be a realistic thing. Let's put it that way. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to go. I don't want to go way too into the spirit realm with you guys, but I can tell you for a fact, um, spirit realm things really do happen. Actually, I had a dream last night, which was very interesting. Really got my attention. I woke up speaking. I was actually talking out because of my dream, and that's just to tell you guys, these things. Yeah, you gotta pay attention to your dreams. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Now, yeah. So I don't think all of this long talk to say I don't think that the executives at Warner Brothers understand because they're always coming too much from a business point of view instead of from a uh, artistic point of view. And you can't pay for art. Art's something that you can't really pay for. And the thing that they need to do is allow the directors the imagination to realize, to let them fully focus and realize their vision. I think that singular visions are much better than multiple visions of directors or people with multiple inputs. The more inputs there are, usually you could tell, like we could see the dissonance. We could see the dissonance between the directors and these executives. We see the dissonance in the sense that the executives constantly are in conflict with the director's vision. Especially guys who want more serious takes. They want to take the characters much more seriously and put a much more serious take on the character, which is much more challenging to do than this pathos, levity sort of thing. I really hate that, to be honest with you. Marvel made me hate a lot of their movies because I just thought not only were they formulaic, as many people say, you see one, you see all, but also what kind of really annoyed me was the joking all the time and the making fun and the spoofing all the time. There's a place for humor. I mean, I laugh at certain, comedy, renditions and stuff. I like Dave Chappelle's a very intelligent comic who comes up with some really funny things and funny rhythms and funny beats and stuff. I like somewhat some of what's his name? I forgot his name now. Kevin Hart stuff. I love some of his stuff. Kevin Hart's a pretty funny guy. Dwayne the Rock Johnson, Kevin Hart cooking up, it's fun. But there are times when the comedy, for me, first of all, it's not clever. Two, I find it forced. And I hate that. I hate fakeness. And I can see when an actor's trying to pull something off and when they're being genuine about it. And so I don't really appreciate Marvel. I really don't. I hated Black Panther in the beginning until I saw Killmonger, and Killmonger changed my mind about it. Saw that Killmonger was a smart guy, and he had a mission, he had a purpose. I think Killmonger made Black Panther a great movie. And not to say that the actor who played Black Panther wasn't great as well. And yes, there was some sappy, stupid ass, dumb moments in it, but I mean, for the most part, it was just a revolutionary movie, and I really love it and appreciate it. Wonder Woman's another one. Less jokes, less humor, really beautiful opening, tremendous. I mean, the opening scene in Wonder Woman made me cry. That's a movie that made me cry. And it was just so pure. It was just so, as she's reflecting, you're listening to Gal's voice and you're seeing the little girl running. It just was one of those moments where I cried immediately. And I think that's what Patty wanted. Patty wanted that feeling, and she got it. She elicited that feeling from us, and I think this Hans Zimmer score, along with the just the scenery of that opening scene, where she's reimagining herself as a younger version of herself, is just it brings tears to your eyes almost immediately. It's a reminiscing kind of thing. And there's another scene where I literally cried, and that was with Antiope's death. And some of it was corny, but for the most part, again, so earnest, so genuine, and then the action was great, and just such a great leader, a great warrior, dead and almost senselessly, because she's trying to save Diana's life, because Diana means so much to her. I think of Antiope, I think of Jonathan Kent, how these people, almost to the point of um, almost to the point of fanaticism, you know, were hell bent that this person would actualize or become what they were supposed to become at the expense of their lives. At the expense of their lives. I think of Jor-El and Laurel and Jonathan Kent, sacrificing their lives for Clark to exist. And I think of Antiope sacrificing her life, putting herself in the trajectory of that bullet, taking it. This great general for thousands of years, been this great general, this great leader who had, allowed this culture of camaraderie and collaboration between the soldiers, you know, suddenly dead because she decided to sacrifice herself for Diana to live because she believed so much that Diana had so much to give. And that's a powerful. I mean, even to this moment, when I think about it, in my heart it drops because that was my favorite character of Wonder Woman, Antiope. Wonderfully, the actor that did this was a wonderful actor. Of course, she'd been in Forrest Gump and all these other movies, but just a wonderful director, and she brought so much richness to that character. Even though we only saw that character for the first portion of the movie, that character meant so much to the movie. She drove the movie forward. If it was up to Hippolyta, Diana wouldn't leave Themyscira. It never would have happened. It was Antiope, you know. And so, fantastic actor. And Wonder Woman is a movie that I think transcends, again, um, transcends genre and went into pop culture. Zach's movies transcend genre and jump into pop culture as well. And this movie was pivotal in how the world is being shaped today. It's a tremendous movie. I thought it should have won an Academy Award. I think so. It was much more influential than Black Panther. It said a lot more than Black Panther did. It meant a lot more than Black Panther did. But it never got the accolades it deserved. And Patty Jenkins, hell of a director. Hell of a director. Wonder Woman goes down as one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. The debut of Wonder Woman in Batman v Superman, and the follow-up movie of Wonder Woman, just bringing to the fore so much stuff that we can unpack with that movie. I mean, it's a fantastic movie. Is it a dark movie? They will say, "Oh, well, Wonder Woman was a dark comic book movie." No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Captain America: The First Avenger. I always say that's one of the greatest Marvel movies I've seen in a long while. Was it a dark movie? Absolutely not. But was it sort of realistic? Yes. Did people die in that movie? Absolutely. Right? And my point being that comic book movies can be serious. Especially Captain America: The First Avenger. It was a serious movie. Wasn't no hee hee ha ha movie. Wasn't an Iron Man movie. Okay? But it was great. And up to this day, a lot of people say, "Oh, that's not the great." It's a better movie for me than Civil War. And Civil War was a good movie, but it's a better movie than Civil War. Civil War was a good movie, you know. Uh, didn't like any of the other Marvel movies, to be honest with you. But I think about Captain America: First Avenger, first Iron Man movie, and Civil War is okay, not my favorite. Black Panther, those movies stand out, and they will stand the test of time as Marvel movies because they have value in them. The others I don't really care much for. I really don't. Um, and similarly with DC, okay? DC has a history of going deeper into their characters and spending more money in making the worlds, establishing the worlds. And you go in a much deeper dive into everything. And that's just the way they've been. And why would you stop doing that? You can still find a way to do it cheaper, but you must explore and be creative. And what I always loved about DC and Zack Snyder stuff and Patty Jenkins stuff and David Ayer stuff is there are always these fresh takes on things. But when you have executives who are so narrow-minded that they feel that a fresh take on something is bad and copying something that's already there is good, then you have a friction. You have friction between the studio and between the people who the studio hired to do a job. Why would a director want to do something the same way as has been done before? Why? What's the use of telling that story? No, you want something, a fresh take on a story. Maybe you pull elements from here and there, but you want something different. You want to tell something different, a new story. You don't want to tell the same old story. You don't want to tell the same old formula. So what goes through these executives' minds to make them think that it needs to be more like this or more like that? The moment you say it needs to be more like this or more like that is the moment you have just killed the creativity of the story. And I find it really tragic that a studio with such potential and such great directors never lives up to its potential because of these stupid ass executives there who are not interested in art. They're not interested in what someone has to say that can really benefit everyone else, the take homes. They're interested in the bottom line, money. Now, how the hell did you even become an executive? Because you have fiscal means? And this is the problem with Warner Brothers, especially the crop that's there. So hopefully, I can only say hopefully, David Zaslav, who is with Discovery, will be able to fine tune and prune off the non productive people in Warner Brothers. Get rid of them and shave them off and bring in people who would consider the art aspect of movie making. What I always loved about Zack Snyder's Man of Steel was it wasn't a commercial movie. Yeah, they say, oh, well, it had all the sponsorship in it. It was a commercial movie. And they'll be like, no, it's a real world, so they're going to have real world stuff in there. But at the end of the day, that was an indie film. That was a real indie film. And it felt that way. So, the short and long of this is, because I spent an hour and 9 minutes and 33 seconds talking about this stuff. The short version of this is that Warner Brothers needs to back the hell off from their directors and let them do their vision. Okay? Stop with the nonsense about, oh, it's a dark movie, it's a dark movie, it's too dark. Let it be what it is. And if it has to be rated R, so be it. Let it be what it is. Let the directors dive as deeply as they want to into it. Let them do the vision that they have. Because we've seen when directors get to do what they need to do, for the most part, you get solid, good movies. And DC does deeper dives. So let them do their deeper dives. That's all I got to say. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.